Are you ready?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Gethard. I'm this month's guest host here at Going Down with Ella Yurman. Ella is away shooting the new J.K. Rowling biopic. I actually read the teleprompter wrong. Ella's attempting to shoot J.K. Rowling. So I gotta say this. There's a whole writing staff here at Going Down, and they go hard as fuck. We are in an age of political violence, and that's the jokes they're handing me, some random cis guy who was asked to step in because he used to play the boss on Broad City. Hello. I am so psyched to be here. I'm so psyched to be doing this. I'm a great admirer of the show. I also have a legacy on public access television. We're going to be talking about that later. But when we kick things off here, I have to say, I felt a lot of love and respect from the team here, but they came to me. They go, "We want to start off with the thing where Ella usually is really into like tightly written jokes and commentary on the headlines and stuff. But we know that you come from an Upright Citizens Brigade improv background. We want you to improvise. So we're gonna do a thing. I think this might be a bad idea." Where apparently they're just gonna start showing pictures and ask me to react to them. And I just need to be clear. I really admire this show. I would like to think that I am an ally, but I don't know what's coming up on the screen, and there might be some times where you just see just real suburban middle-aged ignorance in action right here. I might put my foot right in my goddamn mouth. Here's a joke that was written that I don't even know if I feel totally comfortable saying. There's this one writer, Agnes, who's especially kind, and today pulled me aside to let me know if anything goes wrong, I'm allowed to say the T slur. No, I need to be clear to the writers. You're not helping me by giving me that joke. I don't want to say any slurs. And if there's anything that pops up on the screen and I don't even know what it is, and I should, and it just proves that I'm an ignorant ally, I want to give the whole crowd, feel free to just start yelling suburban ignorance at me. Chant it like they chant things at sports games. I can take the note. I can take the hint. Anyway, I don't really even do topical stuff. I never did topical stuff on my own talk show, but this is a topical show. So let's go ahead and see what's been happening lately. Both parties are resigned to deadlock as shutdown takes hold. That I can handle. That I feel okay about. It does kind of feel like such a softball that I have to feel like the writing staff at Going Down is almost making me feel like, okay, maybe this isn't going to be as bad as I thought, and that these are going to get progressively less in my wheelhouse, and they're going to watch me sweat more. Yeah, that lockdown is fucked up, but I am glad to see that on some level, the Democratic leadership is finally listening to people that are like, no more op-eds, no strongly worded letters, dig in your heels and fight. It does feel like on some level there is some fight to this. So I'm as fed up with Congress as anybody, and I'm somebody who really hopes for change. I wouldn't say as much as anybody, but certainly to a really wild degree, and it's nice to see them fight. Anyway, headline 2 just popped up. Christine Noem says ICE will be all over the Super Bowl. Buckle up, Bad Bunny. That's gonna be wild. The fact that people are pissed about Bad Bunny doing the Super Bowl, grow up. Let's just grow up. Can we grow up? The Super Bowl why is the Super Bowl the most highly rated show in television every year? Can we stop with this idea that I have to imagine that in a football stadium, that the whole infrastructure of many, many aspects of people who are working there are people who are working jobs that are seasonal, are working jobs in the food industry. There are people who are helping to do logistics and run the public transportation and park cars. There are all sorts of people that I have to imagine. It's not a huge stretch of the imagination to say, stop trying to sick ice on them for your weird little political games. It's a dumb game where they only actually play the sport for like 7 minutes, and the rest of us is just watching commercials that have become less and less entertaining over the past 10 years. And I don't. grow up. Everyone needs to grow up. Also, Bad Bunny, he seems like a good dude. They brought him back too quickly for that second SNL, and it did feel like collectively all of us were like, you gotta spread it out just a little bit more with the Bad Bunny. Anyway, I like him. He seems nice. Let's see this next one. Trump makes unproven link between autism and Tylenol. That f***ed up shit. Robert Kennedy eats dead bears. Like, that guy eats dead bears. That motherfucker eats dead bears. That guy, he literally ate a dead bear that he found on the ground. He found a dead bear on the ground and he ate it. So I just kind of, I'm not a huge fan of the pharmaceutical industry. I don't think they always have the best of intentions, but I trust them more than that asshole. Like, I don't know. Plus, all this shit, I mean, it goes back to Jenny McCarthy. Like, the people we trust to tell us what's causing autism are always the most random ass fucking people. Like, we gotta trust science, we gotta trust researchers, we gotta grow up. That dude, Robert Kennedy, is just, and I say this as someone who tries to be very non-judgmental and had a reputation for platforming weirdos my whole career. That dude is weird. Anyway, what's the next headline? What's the next headline? Chris Gethard agrees to fund season 2 of Going Down for $8 million. That one's not true. I think everybody can sense that. I do not. I am making less money than I've ever made. I think this year I'm making like 1/9 of what I made at my peak relevance. It's scary. Let's go to this next one. Ew! They made kosher dill pickle slice. Oh, I thought that was ice cream. I thought that. Are they just? Did they go from headlines I'm supposed to have opinions on to just an old can of pickles? That's very funny. That is very funny. I thought that they were putting out. That to me looks like a pint of ice cream. I did have pickle-flavored ice cream. There's a place that has pickle-flavored soft serve at Penn Station, which everything about that sentence is bad. It was surprisingly good. Okay, what's the next one? What? Chat-a-GP? They switched it up on me. So it's not Chat-GP. I know what Chat-GP is. It's Chat-a-GP. These are going quickly from headlines to just borderline. Is this a thing? Again, raise your hand if anyone in here knows what this is. Okay, so a couple people. So you do know? Can I ask you what is Chat-a-GP?
I believe it's a play on words.
You believe it's a play on words. You believe it's a play on words. Can I ask you?
Combination of Chat-GPT and AGP.
What is AGP?
I pass.
So, can anyone tell me what AGP means? I'm being giggled at by one of our camera people, which makes me feel like for the people who understand what I'm missing, there's a lot of joy. I'm missing something really hard, aren't I? If I just move on, I'm gonna feel unsettled and unsafe. That's okay. Israel accused of detaining Greta in infested cell and making her hold flags. That's not nice. It's not kind. Not kind. I think that's all the headlines. That incited no small amount of panic in me. I feel like some of those will get cut because everyone's just watching me sweat through my clothes. But that's okay. When we come back, I think we're going to be a little bit more in my wheelhouse. We've got a great show for you tonight. Volena is here. We're going to take some calls from viewers like you, and then we will talk about the state of late night comedy. But first, we have some fantastic guests for you tonight. They are New Jersey jazz legends. If you know me, you know I'm a big Jersey guy, and I am so psyched and honored about this. I grew up listening to them. Welcome, bona fide Jersey legends, Bada Swing.
Yes! Oh, yes. Yes, hello, yes, good to see you, good to see you. Oh, yes, hello. Yes, good to see you, hello, my friends. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, come on, yeah,
Feels
right.
good.
Oh, it feels
We're
good.
sitting choo-choo style.
Oh, chugga chugga.
How are you? I'm so thrilled. As a Jersey guy, I think you guys know the love you have out there. I couldn't be more thrilled that you're here tonight.
Well, we're thrilled to be here.
We are so excited to be here. We're two Italian-American singers from the big city,
Newark.
New Jersey.
Yes.
Absolutely thrilled. And Chris, you're pretending like you don't know us, but Chris used to open for us.
I did. When I was starting out, you guys were really nice and let me cut my teeth some of the first.
Yeah, he would come out in his little tap shoes.
Yep.
He's dressed like the WB Frog.
Yeah.
He'd be like, hey, Can I get a suggestion of anything at all? Oh,
I used to do one-man WB Frog themed improv. It is true, yeah.
so cute. Oh my
Oh my
god.
God.
Why are you dressed like an undercover ICE agent, by the way?
Do you want the honest answer?
Yes. You are one?
You are.
Say it to camera.
It turns out you can get a job there easy.
Yeah.
No, I've started buying shirts from a company that specifically accommodates dad bods. That's true. And I think I look good in this
And they're
shirt.
giving you the old ice special.
And I'll also say this hat I've started wearing because I'm 45 and I'm insecure about my hairline. So it's all, I'm dressed as an ICE agent because of all of physical insecurities.
And so that's probably why they have the outfits that they do too, right? Because they're like ugly
Got
guys.
little love handles on the side.
Yeah, they're not.
I didn't
fit.
say ugly. I said I'm a little insecure about my hairline, and you said ugly. You agree with me on that,
Yeah, I
right?
agree this time.
You are insecure.
I was like, oh, I'm holding a little weight in the middle. You're like, oh, I'm like, oh, I'm holding a little weight in the middle, and you're like, yeah, they're all ugly.
I thought you said you were insecure despite being one of the most beautiful men alive. People Magazine sexiest
Let's
man
not
alive.
overcorrect.
yes.
Let's not overcorrect out of a
The ICE
second.
agents are actually not very good looking.
Yeah.
And they
Well, they
are
all have masks,
insecure,
how do you know?
rightfully so.
They all have masks. What if they're all hot? What if they're all hot
They're
under there?
insecure in their views and their bodies.
There you go. There you go. That we can agree with.
Yeah.
All right, we doing the song?
So you want to do the song?
We got a holiday song. You guys want to hear a little song for the holidays?
Is it because Halloween's coming up? Is it that holiday?
Sure, Chris.
Chris.
All right.
We'll
Let's
tell
do
you,
the
we'll
song.
tell you. Let's do the song. All right.
He's a hero loved by many, got gifts aplenty, always seen trotting and traveling around the globe.
He loves his milk and cookies, a legend, he ain't no rookie. What a joy to cheer our favorite man each year. A jolly fellow loved by all, that gorgeous Italian meatball. We're talking Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus, the most powerful Italian American besides Jesus Christ himself. He's got merry workers that love to do his bidding.
And if people say they're slaves, you laugh and say, you must be kidding. The textbooks all agree he was the #1 best guy. Right, Chris? You agree?
If you don't respect our history, I will punch you and then I'll cry.
We're talking
Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus. And if you're nice, he'll give you his Nina, his Pinta, and Santa Marusi. We're talking Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus. And goddamn it, he's white, just like Santa is white, just like Jesus is white,
just like Barbie is white,
just like Batman is white,
just like Kermit is white.
Christopher is white.
He's Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus.
Yay! Happy Columbus Day from Bada Swing.
Yes, give it up for P. Diddy's friend, Chris Gethard.
Bada Swing, everybody, one more time. We'll be right back. Okay, everybody, at this point in the show, we're gonna take some calls, which is not a thing that usually happens on Going Down, but I used to host my own public access show, and it was kind of known for the phone call element. That was one of people's favorite parts, was we took live phone calls. So I don't even remember whose idea it was, but it was like, why don't we do phone calls on Going Down? I said, sure. So if anybody wants to call in, you can call in, And I'm a dad. I live in New Jersey. I raise a 6-year-old in the suburbs with my wife. We have a son. And one thing that was kind of brought up by one of the writers here at Going Down was like, hey, maybe you can be like the surrogate dad for the entire Going Down community. So if you need dad advice, if you need to hear how a dad would do things, and honestly, I know where I am, and I'm very respectful of the fact that maybe a lot of the fan base of this show doesn't always have the best relationship with a dad. Maybe you have a transphobic dad and you just need to yell at a dad. You can call up and yell at me. I will provide that service happily for you. I'm being told that when the calls come in, the names will pop up on the teleprompter, so I'll just wait. Marie, welcome to Going Down with your guest host, Chris Gethard, normally hosted by the great Ellie Yurman. What would you like to talk about tonight? I'm here to provide surrogate dad services on the phone.
Hi, Chris. I have a question. I'm not sure if you've ever talked about this before. But my dad, I do have a good relationship with him, but he's gay.
Okay.
And is not really interested in like traditional male media.
Okay.
So I'm kind of lacking a father figure in my life who I can talk to about things like Star Wars.
If you want to call me up and talk about that'll be the rest of this episode.
I figured. So I just want you to, as a father figure, tell me why episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is worth my time.
I thought it was underrated, honestly. Let's also go ahead and say, first of all, this is Ella's nightmare. This is the straightest thing to ever happen on the show. Ella is regretting so hard ever asking me to do this. Just legit talking about the rise of Skywalker on Going Down. Honestly, I feel like Ella's about to kick down the door and be like, get the fuck out, I got this. I'll also say this, calling up and asking me about this is great, but let's not underestimate the fact that I think Star Wars has far more queer undertones than anyone really speaks about on the mainstream level. I mean, I'm certain that some American studies major at a liberal arts college has written a very lengthy dissertation about the relationship between C-3PO, who's the bottom, and R2, who is the top in that relationship. And I think we all know that. He might be a short king, but he is the top in that relationship. R2-D2 might be the original short king in the gay pop culture community.
Third leg.
What's that?
He has a little third leg.
Audience getting involved. He's got a little third leg. We all know what that's really supposed to be. We all know that that's actually just a metaphor for R2's being hog, because he's a power top and C-3PO is a power bottom. You're welcome, Ella. I really twisted it to fall under the umbrella of Going Down here. Rise of Skywalker, it's not a great movie. There's people who really slam it. I think that visually it is much more beautiful than certainly Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. It doesn't get enough credit for that. The stuff where, have you seen it or not? Am I spoiling it?
No.
Yeah,
no.
There's some real bullshit with the villain, and they just shoehorn some stuff back in, and it clearly feels like a really uninspired idea. I will never claim that. I will say that the relationship between Rey and Kylo Ren, I think, does work and crackle with. I think the actors have chemistry. I didn't totally understand why that movie was so reviled by film snobs. I've gotten in a lot of trouble with, especially the fans of the Blank Check podcast. I didn't like Last Jedi, and that is kind of the hip film snob one to like. But I didn't really like seeing a bitter Luke Skywalker. I think the whole reason Episode 4 is called A New Hope is because he is a young farm boy who is naive enough to have hope in the face of oppressive fascism. And if Andor proved anything, if Andor and Rogue One proved anything, I think they really showed that the Empire was truly a dark fascist regime, and you need someone as naive as Luke to even think it's possible to win because how deep they were in. I feel like seeing a bitter Luke Skywalker left such a big taste in my mouth, and I felt like at least visually, Rise of Skywalker was pretty impressive. There is a fight towards the end where they're on a ship that is sinking into the sea. I think it's shot pretty beautifully, and sometimes you just want to see people fight with big light-up swords, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that was like a pretty convincing argument.
Thank you so much. Also, I think Han is a switch, and Han is a switch. I think I'm using that terminology correctly. The crew just started snapping their fingers, which makes me feel like I did correctly use the terminology. And if Chewbacca is not one of the OG 70s bears, I don't know who is.
Yes.
I think Chewbacca actually probably knows perfect English. He just exclusively makes orgasm noises. Star Wars is very sexual and very queer-coded. Thank you so
Amen.
much for the call, Marie. I might be leaning a little too hard. Am I doing a little bit too try hard to get into the going down vibe? At some point, am I crossing a line where I'll get myself in trouble? I blame Reid Pope. Hi, Audrey. Welcome to the show. Audrey, are you there?
Yes, sorry. Thank you so much for being on. Happy to be here. I have a question, and I guess it's maybe a little odd because I'm the one asking it, but what advice would you give to a dad who's trying to get closer to his young adult children?
Oh, and I imagine that you're the children in this.
I'm one of the children.
You got a dad that all of a sudden is trying to buddy up with you?
That's interesting. Buddy up. Yeah, I guess so.
More than the standard that's been set for your entire life thus far?
Yes. The situation is that, like many parents, he was often working.
I was just, listen, Audrey, I was just gonna say, I understand exactly what's happening here. Your dad is a workaholic. He missed a lot of stuff. He always regretted it. That's a very hard thing for a guy to say. I'm not sure how old you are, but especially if your dad's a boomer, these guys are all...
He's a boomer.
What's that?
He's a boomer.
He's a boomer. The boomer men, everything came down to work defines their sense of self-worth. Work, work, work. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. They think they're setting the example for us, and then they turn around and go, we actually didn't like it as their kids, as the generation of kids raised by boomers. We're going, I actually think you thought we were gonna be so impressed and you were gonna teach us about the standards you have to have in life, and it's all based on work and achievement, but in reality, we just kind of had a little bit of a void that was shaped like you, man. And I can say as a workaholic dad of a 6-year-old right now, I feel myself desperately trying to avoid the same trap. And my guess is that your dad is either retired or close to it. He's trying to make up for lost time. I know that that's not always easy. I also know that these sort of absenteeism leaves scar tissue that even if you didn't intend it, it's real, it's there. But I will tell you that if you can let your dad back in, you will be rewarded for it. My dad was a workaholic. We have a great relationship now. I had a very, very, very sad conversation once where my dad told me that he feels like now we can talk in front of each other and let our guards down. And my dad sometimes curses around me now, and he's like a bro. Wow. And I said to him, yeah, you know, I felt like when you guys moved out of your house, he always used to call me to help him move stuff. He liked that. I have an older brother, but he liked that. I just put my head down. I'll help you lift a love seat, man. Let's go. We need to lift a hutch. I love lifting a hutch. And I was like, that time you helped me, you called me up and I helped you move. I felt like that was when I first like really connected to you on a level where I wasn't like a little intimidated or walking on eggshells around you. He was always so tired. And then he's like looking down at the floor. He's like, wait, you were like 34 or like 32. I was like, yeah, I was in my 30s before I felt like I could actually let my guard down around you. And it went from a pretty celebratory conversation to him being like, ah, fuck, man. Like you could tell he felt it, and I felt bad, but we've made up for lost time, and I'm 45 now, and that dude and I are better friends than we've ever been. And if you can, and it is hard and easier said than done. Cause I'm like, how many dance recitals and cello concerts and soccer games are you gonna miss before you realize, I don't give a fuck about your job, just be here. Like all the boomers took a swing and a miss on that one. The sooner you can forgive, the sooner you'll get your dad acting like a bro, which will be both endearing and hilarious. Like when your dad starts trying to text you like a friend instead of a child, oh my fucking goodness, is that gonna be one of your gooniest friends who doesn't know how a phone works? It's the best.
Thank you so much, and I'm so glad to hear about you and your dad. That's beautiful, and I really appreciate it.
I bet you'll get there too, but I remember when all of a sudden my dad would be like, oh man, like traffic was really fucked up, and I'm like, what is this crisis you are having where we're trying to have convos on this level, man? This is never
he fully
happened.
thinks I'm his therapist, but I don't know him.
Can't do that. Can't go from absentee to save me. You got to land in the middle ground. But my guess is if the pendulum was all the way out here for your whole childhood and now it's swinging back here, that the sooner we can establish some boundaries, it'll land in a middle ground where you get a couple of years left to bro out with your dad, and it will be worth it.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That one ended tender and sweet.
Of course.
Well done. Thank you so much for the call. That brings us to the end of our call-in segment. I'm so glad that we got to do that. Brought back good memories for me. Feels good to connect with so many of you out there. Thanks so much for letting me take the chance. Thanks for letting me co-host the show. We'll be right back at Going Down with Ella Yurman. And now, a word from our sponsors.
I heard of a boy who followed his pride, ran away from the altar, ran away from a bride. He couldn't resist the call from the other side, beyond the church door frames. And well, she cried. He said, if life is an anvil, are you holding the hammer? Are you the coffin, or are you the nail? If I said I regret it, then I would have lied. He had to flip to the other side. I heard of a man who followed their mind, grew out their hair, bought strawberry lip balm. You know the kind, and she picked out her heels, asked, how does this feel? Signed on the dotted line, woke up feeling fine. She said, if life is a painting, well, I am the artist. A body's a canvas, a vessel to guide. And if I didn't do it, then I would have died. She had to flip to the other side. She had to flip to the other side. On the other side, green's more than a color. On the other side, you're not chasing your failure. On the other side, there's room to rest and time to bide. I heard of a person who drove across the country, packed up their Nissan, and set off alone. And after a weekend of sleeping and dreaming, all that they needed was to find a way home. Said, if life is an anvil, are you holding the hammer? Are you the coffin, or are you the nail? 'Cause sooner or later we'll get off this ride. We'll have to flip to the other side. 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 Thank you. That's all for me.
So everybody, Chris here again, and I'm so lucky again. I feel so flattered to be guest hosting the show. I have to say something right now, is that the writers and I met a couple times. We talked about a bunch of stuff we were gonna say. They made a very nice bullet listed sheet. Emily, I believe, is the script supervisor's name of this show. This episode will be your nightmare. God bless your editors. I'm gonna go on some rants. You will have to have hard cuts mid-sentence to cobble together a 30-minute episode because I'm gonna go on some tangents and follow my manic thoughts on this one. Apologies ahead of time, and you're welcome, I hope. We need to talk about the elephant in the room. Why am I guest hosting Going Down with Ella Yurman? This doesn't make sense. This is an underground, radical, trans-centered talk show. I have a son and a mortgage in New Jersey. Like, this doesn't make sense. Apologies. This show is usually hosted by a crew of trans hotties, and you are now watching it be hosted by a nervous man who looks like an older, tired version of Jimmy Neutron. Like, that's a weird thing. But I think when we get all the way to the end of this, I think there are some reasons that it might make sense that I'm here. And I just also want to say this. The first thing we need to say is that the world is actually getting f***ed up enough again that I'm back in the fight. And honestly, people like me are phasing out of the fight. 45-year-old homeowners in the suburbs are not supposed to be rolling up their sleeves and fighting the social fights, but things are f***ed up enough that I do feel like I gotta get off the sidelines. So I'm just telling you, like, I'm the type of guy who's supposed to be worried about, like, oh man, like, I need to get core aeration done on my lawn, and I hope the town doesn't raise our property taxes. Like, that's the type of shit people like me are supposed. I'm supposed to be voting Republican for the first time any minute now. Like, I'm at that phase of my life where I'm supposed to say, like, I'm still socially progressive, but becoming more fiscally conservative. I'm supposed to be one of those dickheads by now, and I don't get to be because stuff's so f***ed up. I gotta come out and be a part of the fight again. I know that I look like I sell insurance. I look like I coach Little League. I don't. I'm happy to tell you my son has no interest in team sports. He's demonstrated none. They don't make sense to him, and I'm proud of him about that. He said, I don't ever want to play football. It looks like it would be really easy to get hurt. I'm like, you're a rad kid. I like that. But what am I talking about? Why does it make sense? What are the types of fights that I think me and Ella both have a skin in the game? First one is this. They're coming for comedy. They came for comedy right out of the gate. And not just comedy, free speech via comedy. We've all seen it happen. I want to just break down some of the bullet points of how we got here, because I think it's actually a lot worse than many people even think. PBS defunded, NPR defunded. They came after the programming at the Kennedy Center. They installed puppet rulers in their pocket to oversee the programming at the Kennedy Center. The Kennedy Center does pleasant touring musicals. Like, these are the people they're starting to control. There are actually people out there going, why should my tax dollars fund Big Bird? And it's like, okay, congratulations. Big Bird's selling eggs. I don't know if people know that. Big Bird had to sell his eggs like a grad student, man. And there's gonna be some couple out there that finally gets good news at the end of a long fertility journey and then gives birth to a 7-foot-tall, half human, half bird. That's fucked up. Now, late night. They're saying it has this mysterious decline, and I just need to go on record and say, I don't think these shows have been canceled because of ratings. I think these shows have been censoring free speech, and especially censoring free speech in a time of corporate mergers. Colbert still had very good ratings. He said some things that got people mad when they were trying to get a thumbs up from the government for a corporate merger. Kimmel, it was even more flagrant. They didn't even try to hide it. They did not like, I'm hesitant to even say, I don't even like this dialogue that they didn't like a joke he made, because go and watch the footage that he got canceled over. It was not even a punchline. It was barely a setup. It was a transition into a joke. He got canceled over a transition into a setup for a punchline. That is bizarre. That is dark. I would argue that that is fascism in action. So are we losing late night to bad ratings? Or is that just the cover story? Which brings us to one of the boogeymen in this story. Let's talk about Sinclair Broadcasting, which you may have heard this tossed around in recent weeks. In April 2017, former Trump advisor Boris Epshteyn was appointed as this company's senior political analyst. It's a Trump guy in charge. And here's a quote, okay? There's a study from Emory University that found, quote, stations bought by Sinclair reduced coverage of local politics, increased national coverage, and moved the ideological tone of coverage in a conservative direction relative to other stations operating in the same market. They've got an agenda. They come in with an agenda to stop reporting local grassroots level news and start inserting a national conservative dialogue. This is who this company is that helped drive this. It is not a good thing. And it's also why I'm so proud to be here back on public access television tonight, because public access has been an insanely formative thing in my life. When I signed up at the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, I had many doors that felt like they were closed to me. I had a few opportunities at traditional mainstream success and it didn't feel right, and the only place that I could get my voice out was public access. And here we are back on public access tonight. And I've always said, public access gets a bad rep. SNL sketches like to make fun of public access. Public access is admittedly the Wild West. The Chris Gethard show on MNN used to be followed by a show called Sub-Zero TV that was just footage of people fighting in parking lots and then close-ups of women's genitalia. That is true. That is a real public access show, and it followed mine, and I kind of loved it because I think public access TV, for as much as it is admittedly the Wild West, it's also the first and last line of defense for free speech itself. And I have to tell you, as someone who drove here tonight from New Jersey during rush hour, I think you can trust that this fight for free speech is very, very important to me, because I crossed over the Hudson and the East River and drove through Manhattan. I paid congestion prices on top of the fucking tolls. It took me over 2 hours to get here. I do not come to Brooklyn in the afternoon for any reason. But if Ella tells me we want you to come in and help break down how this fight against late night is actually fascists in action, I feel honor bound to do it. And I just need to say this. Think about where we are right now, and think about what we're doing, and think about how free this speech is. If you think the programming at the Kennedy Center scares the federal administration, Ella Yurman is their fucking nightmare, okay? As are many of the shows on public access, as are many shows happening on live stages all over this country. And we've got to talk about another dialogue that's wildly important to me. We are independent. I am traditionally a DIY artist. Ella is clearly a DIY artist. Everyone associated with this show clearly believes in DIY, but I need to start to call out that for all the ideals that people like Ian MacKaye built for us to set what DIY is in the music scene, and that the comedy scene co-opted with, you know, Jeanine Garofalo starting a show in a bookstore in LA, if you know your history of alt comedy, they're now using DIY against us. They're using the DIY ideals to shift all the burden to us. We need to start talking about this. And I want to make it very, very clear about what's happening. There's this idea out here, hey, go make your own special now. Cut out all the voices that they have to give you notes. Make your own special. Do it DIY style. And then we can go and license it to Netflix. Try to license it to HBO. Try to license it to Hulu. But guess what? If you want to license it to Netflix, you better shoot it up to Netflix's standards. So that means you need the right cameras, you need the right lights, the sound equipment, you need to pay for the color correction, you need to pay for the closed captioning, you need to rent the venue yourself. All those costs come out of your pocket, right? Now, let's be clear. These are tens of thousands of dollars. I know comedians who are young comedians who feel like a step is that they have to bet on themselves and self-produce a special, and they will scrap together and spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to make it look good. Artists should not have DIY ethics used against them where they have to choose between betting on their own art and maybe owning a house someday. You shouldn't have to choose between your dreams and the so-called American dream. It's fucked up, and it's not how it was even 5 or 10 years ago. It drives me nuts, and then we all know what they say. But hey, you get massive exposure through these things, and it makes up on ticket sales. You get out on the road, you sell way more tickets with your DIY special, because guess what? It goes on YouTube. It's a miracle anytime anything gets licensed for a bigger platform. So you probably spent 50 grand to put it on YouTube, and God bless you, I'm glad it looks good. Hope it does help you sell a lot of tickets, but it brings us to our next bad guy, which is the Live Nation monopoly. We got Live Nation, we got Ticketmaster. They're driving me crazy. This idea is out there. First of all, the idea that people buy a ticket to a comedy show and it says it costs $25, and then when they go to check out, it was actually $48. So you're sitting here and you're going, I get one date night a month, and now it doubled the price for me and my wife, and we got to pay for the babysitter. We got to get dinner and drinks. It's our one date night, and then we got to pay for parking as well. It's exploitative of our audiences, but our audiences, if they are not in the know, they do not go, Ticketmaster screwed me over. They go, go, the artist lied. They said it was $25 and it was $48. These hidden fees make us all look bad. They put a bad taste in people's mouth about even participating and going to live shows. It's a money grab. And let's be clear too, many of these venues that Live Nation buys, they also control the concessions. They control the parking. They control every aspect of it. They have monetized every aspect of the live show experience. And then I know what they say too. They go, okay, maybe the ticket sales, these fees, it means less ticket sales. People feel a little burned, but you can make that up in merch. You had your special, you're supposed to make up your ticket sales in merch. Well, guess what? Most of these venues charge you a fee to use their merch table. They say you are renting the space from them. They take 10 to 15% of a cut of your merch. So you go from bet on yourself and live your dream and spend tens of thousands of dollars doing it, to go out on the road and become a conquering hero, to maybe you can survive on 80% of your own merch sales, even though you already paid for the flight yourself, the hotel yourself, the car rental yourself, probably pay for your opener yourself, and you had to pay for extra baggage fees to carry all the fucking merch with you in the first place. There is no way to be a middle-class artist anymore. It's starting in stand-up and it's spreading everywhere. We have to call it out. Middle-class comedy jobs used to exist within my career. I've been doing this for 25 years, and there was this amazing internet period where you could get middle-class jobs in comedy at places you remember. College Humor, Onion News Network was one of the first jobs I ever had. Funny or Die. There were these places that put content on the internet, and you actually got paid enough to pay your rent in New York City to do it. You could make a living wage. The only people that seem to be doing it right now are Dropout. I love Dropout. I'm friends with so many of the people at Dropout. It's a profit-sharing worker collective. It's a beautiful thing. I think in many ways it's the future of comedy, but I think even my friends at Dropout would agree. The only positive work environment in comedy should not be a place that's just really positive game shows and people playing D&D. There have to be more options than that. My ability to pay my mortgage should not depend on how much knowledge I have about Magic the Gathering. Lucky for me, I do know a fair amount about Magic the Gathering. So I need to say, as this guy who's become kind of an old soul of New York alt comedy, we gotta keep independent. We gotta be creating independently. As much as you're looking to get in the mainstream and play the system, know that the system more than ever right now is trying to play you, so double down on your independence. Because keep in mind, all of us right now feel like independent contractors. I sit here, I go, it reminds me a lot of when coal miners in Kentucky used to be told, you can work in our mine, but you gotta rent your house from us. You gotta buy all your food at the company store. People fought and died to unionize in Harlan County to make that happen. People got shot at by fucking strike-breaking goons. Algorithms are the new company store. We have to start standing up to them like those coal miners did for all of us almost 100 years ago. And that's why I really think we need to all team up if you have any allegiance to the underground and independent art. We have to all get on the same page and fight for each other, be present with each other, make eye contact, physically experience live art. Please go and see live comedy, see live music. It's one of the only things that an algorithm can't take away is the actual end goal of the live experience. I have been doing this for a while. My public access show started in 2011, 14 years ago. I started it out of desperation when I was 11 years into a career that felt like it was failing. I'm exhausted, and I get it. Many artists are right now. We do not have any gas in the tank, but I am begging you, and if there's only one thing you take away from this rant tonight, I will say this. If the only thing you have left fueling you is spite, go with that. Don't apologize. We have to keep making stuff. I want to talk a little bit about my show. I don't love patting myself on the back, but there's a few things I want to say. I will say some of these are my thoughts. Some of these are very kind things that the Going Down writing staff put in here for me to say, and I want to honor it by saying it, even though I'm generally bashful. My show was on public access for many years, called The Chris Gethard Show. It existed in an era where when even Colbert was getting, let's face it, slammed a little bit for having an all-male writing staff. I would argue, the most diverse writing staff probably ever at that point in the history of late night. When we were on cable, I'm so thrilled to say that I gave Jill Firestone one of her first jobs, Anna Fabrega, Robbie Hoffman, Will Miles, Carmen, Christopher, Julio, Torres, these really, really brilliant people. And I want to be clear, I am not taking any credit for their success, but I do know I have good taste. I am someone, despite being pretty absurd and silly in my comedy, who has always wanted to speak truth to power. And if you really want to speak truth to power, you need to open up as many angles of attack as you can. And I try to be a progressive thinker, even in my 40s, I still try to be, but here's the thing. I think part of being self-aware is knowing there's certain fights that you don't have a right to get on a soapbox and fight, but you can put people on your payroll and give them rent money as young artists to help you fight those fights. I got to have a writing staff that allowed us to speak truth to power from many, many different angles, because there's this phrase that people like to say when you start trying to fight the fights, when you start trying to make the good trouble, they will very often go right to stay in your lane. But if you hire people who have different viewpoints than you, your lane becomes like one of those insane highways in Florida where you're just like, it's 47 lanes in both directions. How is there still so much fucking traffic, Orlando? I know it's a little gross and capitalistic to say employ people who widen out your worldview, but if we live in capitalism, you might as well put it towards good use. Because then when shit gets real, you are not trying to speak for anyone, you are speaking with them. And that's how we can use the entertainment industry instead of letting it use us. And I'm really proud of everything I did. I'm proud that I was able to fight some fights. I was proud that in an era that predated a lot of the widespread inclusivity of the modern comedy scene, that my stuff was viewed as something where everyone was included. I'm proud to have hired people who had doors shut in their face when I had come up feeling like I was someone who fit that. And I need us all to start doing that again. If you don't have a mailing list, start it right now. Press pause on the video and figure out what service you're gonna use to start gathering your fans' emails right now so you can stay in touch with them and no one else is up to it. If you have no place else to perform, book a basement show. Invite friends to come watch you play music on your porch. If you have poems you have not published, it is time to go to Kinko's and start making photocopies and handing them out. We cannot hold back. Find those 50 people who will give you a little bit of money each month and make them outweigh the million who barely care. If it sounds risky, it is. If it sounds hard, yeah, it's not easy. It's exhausting. If it sounds a little too radical, I don't know, I'm on Ella Yurman's show. I don't feel like I've done anything radical at all compared to the standards of this, but please understand that that's why I think it does make sense for a guy with a mortgage and a baby seat in his car to start showing back up again. Because I'll also say this, trying to make art, especially in this environment, is hard, and one of the most radical things you can do is survive. Refuse to disappear. We'll be right back. That is our show, everybody. Thank you so much to Parikh, to Bada Swing. Thank you to our callers. Thank you to Volena, to Reid, Skylar, Ella, Monica, Mateo, our writers, our patrons. Thank you to the incredible crew here at Going Down. Thank you so much to the live studio audience. Yes, give it up for yourselves. Thank you to everybody out there supporting live art. Have a great night, everybody.
You and your apolitical friends think it's the end. We're all kidding ourselves. You're cynical and always right. I put up a fight. You've got the world on your shelf. Can you live with yourself? No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it. Can you live with yourself? I heard you studied philosophy at an Ivy League, and you did it just for fun. No need to
Hi, I'm Ella Yurman, host of Going Down with Ella Yurman. Does our title make you think of a sinking ship or oral sex? If you said ship, you crave stability. If you said oral, you crave validation. Either way, like, subscribe, go down below and leave a comment. And then go over to our Patreon at patreon.com/goingdownshow for exclusive content and hot takes that I legally can't post on Maine. That's patreon.com/goingdownshow. Bye! Mwah.